Hi everyone! In this video, I want to show you guys the difference between nanoblading and microblading. So first, let me show you what is microblading. Microblading is this little tool that we use. You can buy it like this and put the blade on it, or nowadays we have a disposable one. So when you finish to use, you put everything in the garbage. But anyway, that's the blade that we use. Sorry, this blade is dirty because I practice with this blade. Okay, so this is a blade. The blade you can see is extremely thin. That's why it looks so similar to a brow hair, right? Okay, now nanoblading, we use a machine with a needle. Let me turn on so you can see the needle. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see. Let me put on the black here. This is a tiny, tiny needle. And that's how we're gonna do the strokes. Let me take it out and show you guys a little closer. Maybe you can see like that. I'm pressing here in the back. I'm putting all the needle out, but normally we just use the tip of the needle, okay? Let me clean a little bit. And this again is dirty because I practice with it. So see how tiny the needle is? So this is a nano needle. Some people say acupuncture needle or bug peen because it's so tiny. Okay, so microblading, that's what we do. We are gonna dip the blade on the pigment and we're gonna go across the skin of your brows and we're gonna do a tiny little cut, and in this cut this pigment is gonna go in. So for example, I'm gonna do this one, okay? So we put the blade there and we drag the blade until we finish. Let me go one more time so I can really show you guys. Put the blade there and drag the blade. Okay? I'm gonna clean after. Now we're gonna do with the needle. With the needle, we're gonna go dip the needle on the pigment, and then the pigment is gonna go inside this little cup over here, this little space. And I'm gonna move a little bit, and that's how we do the strokes. Let me see if I can do in a way that you can see. I'm gonna try to do in a weird direction for me, but hopefully you can see better. We also drag the needle, but the needle just goes back and forth, has no cuts. Okay. So the blade causes a little cut, right? Let's do one more time so you can see. The blade, we place the blade and we drag the blade. That's why some people may feel more pain with microblading, because you're actually slicing that skin. It's very similar to a tiny little knife, right? We do use numbing cream, okay? But if you compare microblading with nanoblading, nanoblading, because it has no cuts, the needle just goes up and down inside over here, because the motor, right? The motor of this machine will push the pigment in and out. So it has no cuts. It's very similar to a sewing machine. So even though you're dragging, you're not causing trauma to that skin compared with, everything causes a little trauma, right? To the skin, but compared with microblading, you cause way less trauma because it has no cuts. Let's clean here and see if we can see. Look. This was the microblading, this is nanoblading. They're very similar. Both techniques can look really good. On the skin, on this fake skin that we are using, everything looks really nice, but you have to remember that people's skin is not like this, right? So for example, I don't recommend microblading if you have very dry skin, very thin skin, if your skin's already aged. Why? Because when you cut the skin with the blade, you will cause more trauma. And because the skin is so thin, this stroke that looks really cute over here will not look like that. May not look like that already on the day that we're doing, and when it heals, it can look darker and deeper because the skin is so thin. With nanoblading, you don't have that problem because you have more control on how deep you're putting that needle, right? We just use the tip of the needle, and because it has no cuts, has less trauma. So for aged skin, for example, this is fine. Because I know how to do nanoblading, if I have a client like that, I offer nanoblading. I'm not gonna even go with microblading because I know this will be the best for the skin, okay? So nanoblading causes less trauma. I'm not saying microblading is bad because it's not. If you have experience and you know how to use the blade, you can do a beautiful job. Of course, in certain cases, it's better use the nanoblading. But anyway, this video was just to show you the difference, right? How we use the blade for microblading and the needle for nanoblading or nanobrows or 3D brows. Every year has a different name, right? But the technique is the same. The blade, the microblading, is this tiny little blade that you're gonna cut the skin. Let's clean here so you can see again. This is very tiny, very thin. And the needle, you just drag on the skin and has no cuts. So that's the difference. I hope you guys understand now. Bye-bye.